Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, here with my brief thoughts on House of Gucci. This was directed by noted MCU and cell phone enthusiast Ridley Scott, who's also directed these movies, and it starred Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Jared Leto, Al Pacino, and Jeremy Irons. And this movie is based on a true story that revolves around the Gucci family, which owns the Gucci fashion brand, and we all know what that is, I'm certain. The movie specifically focuses on two people, Maurizio Gucci, played by Adam Driver, and Patricia, I'm going to try and say this last name right, Reggiani, played by Lady Gaga. And, well, over the course of many years, it chronicles the dramatic fall of the Guccis from one of the biggest fashion brands in the world to relative obscurity. Only, ironically, nowadays, they're worth $60 billion, and not a single Gucci family member is involved in the business. Life can be cruel sometimes. Despite my joking in the intro, I am a big fan of Ridley Scott. His superhero movie comments aside, I think he is in the conversation for greatest of all time in terms of directing. And he's also managed to stay pretty relevant regardless of genre. We're talking about sci-fi with Alien and Blade Runner, like historical dramas like A Beautiful Mind and Gladiator. He can jump from genre to genre and excel. And he proved with all the money in the world that you could make something about a big family like this really fascinating. And House of Gucci is fascinating, however, there are some drawbacks. I will say, though, the best part of the movie is the acting, specifically from Adam Driver and Lady Gaga. They are on the screen the most, and they are the most interesting part of the movie, which was probably the point, and that point was well made. Adam Driver is clearly showing that out of all of the new Star Wars people, he is clearly the best, and it seems like that trajectory is not changing at any time soon. And if you were to tell me in 2011 that Lady Gaga would be just a stellar actress, I would have probably laughed, because I just remember her as the Fame Monster, wearing really weird outfits. But no, first A Star is Born, and now this. Did she have this the entire time and not show it off? What's up with that? I have heard rumblings that she may be in the conversation for Best Actress. It's probably not going to happen, but if she does get nominated, I will be very happy with that. The rest of the cast is good as well, with one exception, but I'll get to that later. Jeremy Irons is not in the movie all that much, but I liked what they did with him. Al Pacino is Al Pacino. He doesn't even do an Italian accent. I'm sure Ridley was just like, "Hey Al, I need you for my new movie. I just need you to be you." No, I don't need you to have a big freak out, just a small one. And Al does have a small freak out, you'll know it when you hear it. In every review of this movie that I have seen/read, I have heard the certain points regarding the Italian accents, and it is not lost on me that a lot of the actors in this movie really are not Italian. I think maybe Al Pacino, but he doesn't do an accent. Now, I'm not really a prude for that kind of thing. It is acting, after all. It is all about playing somebody that you're not. So I was holding out to see what would happen, and now that I have finally seen the movie, I can safely say that some of the accents are good, some of the accents are passable, and some are just god-awful. In the good category, you got Adam Driver and Jeremy Irons. Driver's accent is kind of subtle, so if you're actually listening to it, you're kind of like, okay, he's not overdoing it, so if Driver were Italian, I wouldn't put it past him. I thought he did a good accent. And also, Jeremy Irons was good as well. It kind of sounds like Jeremy Irons' voice, but he gives it an Italian twist, so there's enough of it to be like, okay, he's doing good. Lady Gaga's accent, I've heard people call it more Russian than Italian, and I can kind of understand where that's coming from. However, I thought her accent was pretty good. Like I said, Al Pacino's accent was almost non-existent. And then we get to Jared Leto, and oh boy, this is where I get to my problems with the movie, because I don't know if Paolo Gucci was like this in real life, but wow, Jared Leto just had no clue, like, what movie he was in. As many of you know, I'm a fan of pro wrestling. A long time ago, in 2008, there was a wrestler named Santino Marella. He was played by a Canadian man. He had a very over-the-top accent. He did this little weird power walk thing, but he was portrayed as Italian. This Canadian man playing an Italian man was more Italian than Jared Leto in this movie. Jared Leto's accent in this movie is so comical that I'm pretty sure Mario from the Super Mario Bros. Would be calling him to get cancelled. I'm normally pretty patient when it comes to Jared Leto. I think he can be a good actor. The Little Things, which I still think is a good movie that nobody's talking about, he was actually pretty unsettling in that movie. But here, it's just, he overdoes it. Like, it's just so bad. It really doesn't help that Jared Leto's character has, like, the worst fashion sense in history, and he thinks of himself as, like, the next Gucci or the next Versace. But, wow. The loud suits combined with the awful accent, it's rare for me to actually say that that's so bad it's good, but Jared Leto in this movie has got to be in the so bad it's good conversation. That is one problem, but my big problem with the movie is that A, it's too long, and B, it's also not long enough. It's a bit of a paradox. The movie is too long in that it is 2.5 hours long, and with nearly 30 minutes of trailers, you're looking at sitting there for about 3 hours, like 3 hours and 10 minutes almost. That's a long time, and considering the fact that this movie is about a super rich family and all of their baggage, I can understand if this movie does not do well at the box office, kind of similar to The Last Duel, which is another Ridley Scott movie that came out this year. However, unlike House of Gucci, The Last Duel had a very compelling narrative, and even though it is longer than most, it kept its focus on this whole matter with Lady Marguerite and Jacques de Carouge and John de Gris. It keeps it all in one triangle, if you will. In House of Gucci, they just throw everything into this movie. The movie starts out in 1978 and ends in 1995. That is about 2 decades worth of time in just about 3 hours. That is not long enough. I have the same problem with this movie that I had with The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which I never reviewed, and to sum it up, I love Jessica Chastain. However, the movie should have been an HBO miniseries. And, well, that's my problem with House of Gucci. This should have been an HBO miniseries or a limited series. There's so much happening in here that it begs for it to be like a 6 or a 7 or an 8 episode miniseries to just cover everything. And instead, we get everything in about 3 hours, and it is dizzying at times. But at the end of the day, though, this movie is of a pretty high quality, problems aside. I am going to give it a good rating. I will say, though, if you do go see it, be prepared for a long sit, because it's going to be a lot of hard work. It's pretty safe to say that out of Ridley Scott's 2 movies this year, The Last Duel wins by a country mile. That movie is still awesome, and it may still be in my top 10 of the year. Who knows? But that is all from me, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I want to say thank you to all of you who checked out my Encanto review. I did not expect that review to be viewed as much as it did. I got a lot of great comments, especially from Colombian people, which, I mean, that's really cool. So thank you for that. Please keep your comments coming. I love reading those. Also, I've got big plans coming up for December, which I will be announcing very soon. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way, when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.